The Galactic Predators were not a singular species but a coalition of apex civilizations, bound together by their shared mastery of war, destruction, and dominance. Each member of this coalition was a predator in its own right, evolved to perfection in their respective ecosystems. United, they were a force so overwhelming that no race had yet managed to withstand their combined might. Their fleets darkened the skies of countless planets, leaving trails of ruin and despair across the galaxy. They didn't merely conquer, they obliterated. To them, submission was weakness, and extinction was mercy. Their technology surpassed understanding, a seamless fusion of organic and synthetic systems capable of adapting in real time to counter any defense. Weapons that bent reality, armor that regenerated faster than it could be damaged, and fleets that seemed to move through dimensions as easily as a fish swims through water. The Predators wielded these advancements with brutal efficiency, erasing any semblance of resistance before it could properly take root. Among the conquered were civilizations spoken of with reverence in the annals of galactic history. The Althians, a race gifted with psychic abilities so profound they could bend minds and matter alike, fell within weeks. Their formidable cities, once gleaming pinnacles of architectural wonder, were reduced to rubble. The war-hardened Kelvers, whose soldiers were bred for battle and whose armor was said to be impenetrable, crumbled under the might of predator strategies. Even the Irixians, who had lived peacefully for millennia under a shielded sanctuary world, found their protective barriers shattered, their people enslaved. Legends circulated in the galaxy about the Predators. Tales of their conquests were shared in hushed whispers, warnings etched into the cultural memory of survivors. For many, they were more than an existential threat, they were a force of nature, a storm that could not be resisted, only endured. Entire star systems surrendered without a fight, hoping to spare themselves the horrors that resistance would surely bring. Despite their dominance, the Predators were not mindless in their campaigns. They operated with ruthless precision, targeting planets with resources or species that could serve their ever-expanding empire. Yet, they were not omniscient. There were countless planets, some too primitive to merit attention, others so barren they offered no strategic value. Among these overlooked worlds was Earth. To the Predators, Earth was an insignificant speck, its location in the galaxy remote, its inhabitants technologically backward. Their scouting data showed a species barely scratching the surface of interplanetary exploration, armed with weapons that would be considered relics by galactic standards. Physically, humans seemed fragile, lacking the natural armor, enhanced senses, or genetic adaptations that many other species relied upon for survival. They were deemed weak, uninspiring prey. The decision to invade Earth was not born of necessity but convenience. The Predators' Council viewed the conquest as a trivial affair, a training exercise for their younger warriors. It would serve as a demonstration of their continued dominance, a reminder to the galaxy that no corner of the cosmos was beyond their reach. The fleet dispatched to Earth was modest by their standards, a single battle group, sufficient to bring even the most resistant planets to heel. To them, this would be routine. A simple sweep, a predictable victory, and another world added to their ever-growing collection. Humanity's fate, they believed, was already sealed. In their arrogance, they saw no reason to prepare for anything other than the inevitable. The Predator's fleet arrived in Earth's orbit with the silent grace of a predator stalking its next meal. Their ships were vast, monstrous constructs that seemed to defy the very laws of physics, their dark surfaces absorbing and distorting light. From the ground, they appeared as looming shadows blotting out the sun, their sheer scale sparking awe and terror in equal measure. Cities paused in collective disbelief as the ships hovered ominously, their presence an unspoken declaration of superiority. For the people of Earth, the moment was surreal, a mix of wonder and dread. Telescopes, news networks, and mobile devices captured the phenomenon in frantic streams of data. The general public, unprepared for such an encounter, swung between hope and fear, imagining everything from peaceful first contact to apocalyptic annihilation. Governments scrambled, issuing warnings and organizing defenses as they attempted to establish communication with the silent invaders. Across the globe, a tense, electric anticipation gripped humanity. For the Predators, however, this was no grand spectacle. It was routine. To them, Earth's defenses were laughably primitive. Its satellites were like brittle insects in the path of a storm, swept aside with minimal effort. Even the planet's most advanced military installations were little more than relics in the eyes of the invaders. They saw no reason for elaborate tactics or overwhelming force. A handful of targeted strikes would suffice to cripple humanity's infrastructure and render any form of resistance futile. When they finally descended, their landing crafts pierced the atmosphere like fiery spears, trailing columns of smoke and flame. Cities erupted in chaos as the crafts touched down, their sheer size crushing anything beneath them. Predator ground forces emerged, towering creatures encased in living armor, wielding weapons that emitted pulses of searing light. Their arrival was met with predictable panic. Civilians fled, armies scrambled, and the world seemed poised to crumble under their advance. Yet, as the invasion unfolded, cracks in their overconfidence began to show. The Predators' disdain for human capabilities had blinded them to one critical factor: adaptability. Earth's defenders, while technologically inferior, were resourceful. Soldiers, engineers, and strategists quickly reorganized, exploiting their deep understanding of the terrain and using unconventional tactics that baffled the invaders. In one early engagement, Predator forces advanced on a key military base, expecting swift and total domination. Instead, they were met with a barrage of improvised countermeasures, hidden mines, rapid ambushes, and coordinated attacks that disrupted their formations. The humans fought with an intensity that was unexpected, their maneuvers unorthodox but devastatingly effective. While the Predators ultimately overwhelmed the defenders, the cost was higher than anticipated. One Predator commander, overseeing the battle, noted the peculiar behavior of the humans. Unlike other species they had conquered, these creatures did not submit easily. They displayed a level of coordination and ingenuity that defied their perceived inferiority. When outgunned, they improvised. When outnumbered, they adapted. Most troubling of all, they refused to retreat, pressing forward with a determination that bordered on madness. The Predators began to see glimpses of humanity's potential, though they did not yet fully understand it. The humans' resilience, combined with their unpredictable tactics, hinted at something deeper, an ingrained survival instinct honed by millennia of conflict. Predator scouts reported instances of guerrilla warfare, where small groups of humans dismantled entire squads using traps, diversions, and even environmental hazards. In one case, a group of human soldiers lured a Predator unit into a dense urban area, using the labyrinth of narrow streets and buildings to neutralize the invaders' technological advantages. Human history, though unknown to the Predators, was rife with innovation born from necessity. Earth's civilizations had waged countless wars, each conflict driving advancements in strategy and technology. This legacy manifested now in their ability to fight a far superior force. Predators accustomed to easy victories were forced into prolonged skirmishes, their arrogance slowly giving way to frustration. What they initially dismissed as primitive stubbornness began to feel like something more dangerous. Humanity, as the Predators were starting to realize, was not merely resisting. They were learning. Every engagement, no matter how small, revealed more about the invaders' tactics and weaknesses. In turn, humans adapted, evolving their strategies with an almost unsettling speed. For the first time, the Predators felt a hint of unease. Their invasion was no longer the routine conquest they had envisioned. This was something different, something they had not encountered before. And though they would not yet admit it, the seeds of fear had been planted. The first glimmer of hope for humanity came from an unexpected discovery: the remains of a downed Predator craft. Amid the chaos of battle, a team of human engineers and scientists worked feverishly to understand its alien mechanisms. They couldn't match the sophistication of the Predator's technology, but they didn't need to. Humanity had a knack for adaptation, finding practical solutions with limited resources. Within weeks, they began to reverse engineer key components. What emerged from these efforts wasn't parity, but innovation. Humans didn't simply copy what they found, they reimagined it, integrating Predator systems with their own hardware in ways the invaders hadn't anticipated. Communication jammers disrupted Predator coordination. Energy shields, crude but effective, protected critical installations. Even the invaders' formidable plasma weapons were modified into makeshift artillery. What humanity lacked in refinement, they compensated for with raw, relentless creativity. More significant than the technology was humanity's ability to weaponize their weaknesses. They were outmatched physically and technologically, but they turned these disadvantages into strengths. Predator tactics relied on overwhelming force and predictable patterns of domination. Humans, in contrast, embraced chaos. Small, mobile units struck from the shadows, targeting supply lines and disrupting command centers. The Predator's superior armor and firepower meant little in dense forests or sprawling urban centers, where traps and guerrilla tactics turned their advantages into liabilities. But it wasn't enough to fight back. Humanity needed to get inside their enemies' heads. They began to study the Predators, not just their weapons, but their psychology. The invaders, for all their power, were creatures of instinct and pride, conditioned to see themselves as invincible. Humans exploited this ruthlessly. Decoy operations led entire Predator squadrons into ambushes, where they were picked apart piece by piece. Misdirection became a weapon as effective as any missile. In one striking example, humans planted false signals indicating the presence of high-value targets. When the Predators converged on the location, they found not a military base, but a network of mines and automated defenses rigged to explode. Entire divisions were wiped out before they realized they had been deceived. Nuclear weapons, once humanity's ultimate deterrent, became tools of psychological warfare. Knowing the Predators viewed Earth's weapons as outdated, humans deliberately leaked information about their destructive potential. They created the illusion of an arsenal far larger and more devastating than it was. Predator leaders, unable to ignore the possibility, hesitated for the first time in their campaign. The turning point came during an engagement over the Pacific. The Predators launched a massive assault, confident in their numerical superiority and technological edge. But humanity had prepared for this moment. Using captured Predator technology, they scrambled enemy communications and turned their own weapons against them. Fighter jets, retrofitted with energy-based ordnance, struck with surgical precision. Naval vessels launched coordinated attacks, using Predator shielding to withstand counter-fire. The battle was brutal, but it wasn't the carnage that marked its significance, it was the result. Against overwhelming odds, humans forced the invaders to retreat. The Predator fleet, battered and humiliated, withdrew to regroup, leaving behind wreckage and unanswered questions. It was the first time in recorded history that the Galactic Predators had been defeated in open combat. That defeat reverberated far beyond Earth. For the first time, the Predators saw humanity not as prey, but as something far more dangerous. This species, small and fragile by their standards, had turned desperation into strength and chaos into strategy. The galaxy had never seen anything like them. Fear began to creep into the ranks of the invaders, a fear they had never known before. Humanity had not just survived, they had become a threat. And for the Predators, the realization was chilling. The retreat of the Predator fleet was a moment etched into the collective memory of Earth. For the first time in recorded history, a force that had seemed unstoppable fled in the face of human resistance. Their departure left behind smoldering wreckage, charred landscapes, and the eerie silence of a battlefield emptied of its conquerors. Predator ships, once symbols of overwhelming power, now lay shattered across deserts, oceans, and cities. Their twisted remains became trophies, silent testaments to a victory no one had dared to hope for. On Earth, the aftermath was a blend of grief and triumph. Entire cities lay in ruins, their skylines reduced to jagged silhouettes against the horizon. Yet, amidst the devastation, there was a pulse of life, humans emerging from bunkers, tending to the wounded, and rebuilding what they had lost. Streets that had echoed with the thunder of battle now buzzed with activity, as engineers repurposed alien debris into tools and scientists pored over Predator artifacts. Celebrations broke out, not for the destruction wrought but for the defiance that had carried them through. Against all odds, humanity had stood firm, and the world was united in its pride. Far from Earth, the defeat struck like a blow to the core of the Predator hierarchy. Their council, a coalition of the galaxy's most powerful and feared leaders, convened in secrecy. The chamber, usually filled with an air of dominance, now thrummed with an unfamiliar tension. For the first time in centuries, their unity was fractured, not by external forces, but by doubt. The leader of the council, a towering figure whose voice could command entire fleets, addressed the gathered representatives. His tone, once brimming with certainty, now carried an edge of disbelief. The losses were recounted in detail, entire battalions annihilated, advanced warships disabled by what should have been primitive tactics, and most unsettling of all, the psychological toll of facing an enemy that would not submit. Among the council, debates erupted. Some argued that humanity's victory was a fluke, an anomaly born of luck and desperation. Others, more shaken, pointed to the humans' rapid adaptation and relentless spirit. These weren't characteristics of prey, they were the traits of a rival. One commander, who had fought on Earth's surface, described the humans as creatures of madness, their willingness to sacrifice everything in the pursuit of survival unlike anything the Predators had encountered. Discussions turned inward, delving into what the defeat meant for their empire. For centuries, the Predators had ruled through fear, their reputation enough to ensure compliance from most civilizations. Now, that reputation was tarnished. The galaxy had seen them retreat, and whispers of their vulnerability would spread. They had lost more than a battle, they had lost the illusion of invincibility. As reports of the battle reached distant star systems, the galaxy began to shift. Civilizations that had lived under the shadow of the Predator's tyranny took notice. Earth's defiance became a beacon, a story retold in every corner of space. Species that had once hidden in fear started to emerge, emboldened by the idea that even the mightiest could fall. For some, humanity became a symbol of hope. Alien leaders, long cowed by the Predators, sent envoys to Earth, seeking alliances. They offered resources, technology, and information in exchange for protection. To them, humanity represented a chance to stand against their oppressors, a force capable of breaking the galaxy's longest reign of terror. The Predators watched this development with growing unease. They had underestimated Earth once, and the consequences were clear. Humanity was no longer just a problem for their military, it was a threat to their entire way of life. Every alliance formed with Earth, every new ally brought into the fold, weakened the stranglehold they had maintained for so long. And yet the humans did not celebrate these alliances with arrogance. Their actions were calculated, their focus sharp. For all the victories they had won, they remained aware of the dangers ahead. Earth was rebuilding not just for survival but for the future, crafting weapons and strategies that would ensure they were never caught off guard again. The Predators, once certain of their dominance, now faced an unsettling truth. Humanity had evolved under the crucible of their invasion. The species they had dismissed as weak had grown stronger, more unified, and more dangerous than they could have ever imagined. For the first time, the Predators were forced to confront a question they had never asked themselves: what happens when the hunter becomes the hunted? In the years following the invasion, Earth underwent a transformation unlike anything in its history. The wreckage left behind by the Predators became the foundation of humanity's future. Laboratories hummed with activity as scientists unlocked secrets buried within alien technology. Engineers reimagined Predator designs, crafting hybrid vessels and weapons that surpassed their original function. The once fractured nations of Earth worked in unison, pooling their resources and knowledge to ensure they would never be caught unprepared again. Humanity didn't just rebuild, it evolved. Cities rose from the ashes, fortified and teeming with advancements that blurred the line between human ingenuity and alien science. Fleets of newly designed ships patrolled the skies, bearing a simple yet profound message: Earth was no longer defenseless. Alliances with other civilizations flourished, creating a coalition bound by shared fears and a newfound hope. Humanity had not only earned its place among the stars but had become a cornerstone of a growing resistance against oppression. For the Predators, the shift was deeply unsettling. Their once unquestioned dominance now wavered under the shadow of humanity's rise. Within their ranks, uncertainty bred division. Traditionalists argued for a swift and devastating retaliation, desperate to reassert their supremacy before it slipped further from their grasp. Others, more cautious, recognized the futility of underestimating humans again. They saw humanity's strength not as a fluke but as a harbinger of change, a new reality where the predator's reign might never be restored. This internal schism deepened as reports of humanity's alliances grew. The galaxy, once a hunting ground, was becoming a network of resistance. Predator fleets found themselves increasingly isolated, their strategies disrupted by the collaboration of former prey species. For every move they made, humanity and its allies countered with precision and tenacity. The tipping point came when a massive predator armada, assembled to reassert control, approached the Sol system. It was a show of force meant to intimidate, to remind the galaxy of who ruled. Thousands of predator ships filled the void, their presence a testament to centuries of conquest. To the predators, it was a calculated gamble. They believed that overwhelming numbers would cow even the most defiant species. But humanity had learned more than just survival. It had learned how to wield power. As the predator fleet closed in, a small contingent of human vessels emerged from Earth's orbit. They were dwarfed in size and number, a fraction of the force arrayed against them. Yet they moved with purpose, their formation precise and deliberate. What followed wasn't a battle but a statement. The human fleet, equipped with hybrid technology and unyielding resolve, broadcast a simple message across all channels. They outlined the losses the predators would suffer should they proceed. Tactical overlays revealed weaknesses in the Armada's formation, vulnerabilities the humans had already calculated. A stark reminder of Earth's nuclear arsenal, now enhanced by alien advancements, underscored the consequences of continued aggression. The message was clear: humanity would not strike first, but if attacked, the retaliation would be devastating. The predator commanders hesitated. The younger warriors, eager to reclaim glory, pressed for an assault, but the seasoned leaders saw the truth. This was not a bluff. The humans had studied them, understood them, and were prepared for a confrontation on a scale the predators were no longer certain they could win. In an act that would have been unthinkable just years earlier, the predator armada withdrew. One by one, their ships vanished into the void, leaving the human fleet untouched. The retreat was not just a tactical decision, it was an acknowledgement. For the first time, the predators had faced an enemy that needed no victory to prove its dominance. As the galaxy watched, humanity solidified its role as a force to be reckoned with. They were no longer the hunted, no longer prey. They were leaders, innovators, and protectors. Species that had once feared the predators now looked to Earth with hope, inspired by their resilience and ingenuity. For the predators, the withdrawal marked the end of an era. Their supremacy was no longer absolute, their mythology of invincibility shattered. They retreated not only from Earth but from the idea that they could dominate unchecked. Among their ranks, a grudging respect grew for the species they had so gravely underestimated. Humanity, fragile and fleeting by their standards, had taught them a lesson they would not forget. The most dangerous force in the galaxy was not strength or technology, but the will to adapt and endure. And so, the story closed with an unspoken understanding between hunter and hunted. Humanity, though younger and smaller, had risen to stand alongside the great powers of the galaxy. The predators, humbled but unbroken, returned to their corner of the stars, carrying with them a lesson etched deep in their pride: the galaxy had changed, and humanity was the reason why.